All right, Woolpower. I'm wearing a Woolpower extra large t-shirt. This is 200 grams. I've got the Woolpower wrist gaiters on, and then over here I have a Woolpower 400 gram vest, also extra large. So I'm going to just talk about Woolpower briefly. It's made in Sweden, I'm pretty sure, and it's a blend between merino wool and most of their products. It's merino wool and polyamide, but it's a wool synthetic blend. It's usually a pretty high wool content. It's between 60 and 80%, depending on the product. These products have a little bit lower of a wool content, and I'll show you why that is here in a moment. It's pretty unique stuff, and I was turned on to Woolpower from Ralph at Weatherwool, because I was asking him, like, if I get your Weatherwool products, like, what do you recommend that I wear under them? And he said, well, if it's cold out, get Woolpower. And so that's what I did. In fact, I believe all my Woolpower stuff that I'm showing you here actually came from another company Ralph at Weatherwool owned, and that was called Alex Outdoors. And they used to be the distributors for Woolpower in the United States. Woolpower since has parted ways, and they sell their own products. Woolpower.us, so that's WOOLPOWER.US, and that's where you can get their products. I super highly recommend these products. These are not good products to wear on their own in the field or doing like work or anything like that, because they're not really made for that. They're not super durable in terms of how they're going to hold up, like with abrasion or stuff like that. If you're lounging around the house or you're chopping wood or something like that, yeah, fine, you can wear these as outer layers. But these are not outer layers. These are definitely under layers, and they work fantastic for that. You can keep yourself pretty warm in some pretty nasty outdoor conditions with just a simple t-shirt like this. So, as always, 255 pounds, 6'2.5". This is an extra large. This is an extra large. Swedish company. You know, people over there aren't as big and fat as us Americans, so I'm usually a large or an extra large in US. I'm an extra large in Woolpower. The wrist gaiters are really cool. Most of their products are like gray or this green color. I have two of these t-shirts. They have I guess I'll stick with the gaiter. I don't like gloves that cover my fingers. I've got a thing against that. So the wrist gaiter is really cool because it does run up your arm, and a cuff will seal tightly on it, so it does keep your wrist area warm, and it still fits tight enough that you can put a glove over it. So, you know, in certain circumstances, I will wear like a glove, like a ski glove that covers your fingers. Most of the time, though, I'm just wearing wool knitted fingerless gloves that my sister makes, and those just slide right over the top. In extreme cold conditions, the combination of the two is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And over here, obviously, I have my giant watch on, and these gaiters will fit over your watch if that's what you want to do, or, you know, it's still perfectly comfortable if you just kind of crinkle it up right next to your watch. Either way, it works just fine. And so I'll get to what makes this stuff so special here in a moment. The t-shirt is one of my favorites, and it has a really unique design where it's got like this ribbed cuff that seals off on your arm. And I've found that these sleeves really stay in place well, like in and out of jackets, in and out of my, you know, Filson shirt jack, whatever. They don't really tend to bunch up too much. You know, certainly they can do that, but this ribbed cuff here really does a good job of keeping your sleeve where it should be. It has good piping down toward the bottom. These are kind of a tighter fit because they are meant to be an insulating layer, not an outer layer. The cut, extra large for my height and weight, is really nice. You know, I will be in circumstances where, see, it'll kind of come up and bunch up on me like that, because this is knitted in a terry cloth weave, or I don't know if weave is the right term for that, but it's like terry cloth, kind of like a bath towel underneath here. And it's just sort of stretchy and sort of clingy. So it will do that. If you're up and down with your arms a lot, you know, like you could kind of get annoyed with this thing bunching up on you. Again, I do that stuff and I'm not usually too bothered. And especially if you put like a t-shirt on the outside, or you put something else on, whatever else you're wearing will kind of keep this train to like not bunch up. So it is a possibility though. And I'll talk about the vest in a minute, but first I'm going to show you the terry cloth. So if we look at these wrist gaiters, wrist gaiters, and you flip them inside out. So here's the outside right there. You see it's all fuzzy from the wool, but you flipped it inside out. See how it has that terry cloth like bath towel loops in there? And what that does is it actually creates an air gap between the outer layer of the garment and your skin. So that helps it trap air, and air is the best insulator, right? So you stay real warm. So even though this is like a 200-gram shirt, it insulates a lot better than most 200-gram shirts are if they're not knitted in this terry loop fashion. So really cool. Okay, so onto the vest. Same thing. This is 400 gram, 200 grams, so this is heavier duty. And Woolpower makes, jacket style. They make the t-shirts, they make long sleeve shirts, they make long johns, they make underwear, and they make it out of 600 gram terry loop style, 400 gram terry loop style, 200 gram terry loop style, and then they have a line called Light, L-I-T-E, and that is not in this terry loop weave. It's just like a standard, like merino style t-shirt. And I think they actually make like long johns and long sleeve shirts and like socks and stuff out of the Light. But the Light is more like what you'd use to kick around in the summer. Like this is not a warm weather shirt. It's not going to be comfortable in warm weather. It's too insulating. And this is not stuff that's going to block wind either. It's fairly loosely woven. So like just looking right now, I can see like everything. I can actually see the cell phone very clearly through this. So it's definitely made to be worn under a shell, whether that shell is synthetic, cotton, wool, whatever it is. This is not outerwear. European, so the zipper sticks to this side. You can see that this vest is cut very long. I think most of their heavier, like 400 and 600 gram, and then the long sleeve like turtlenecks and stuff that they sell, I think they're cut pretty long. That could be annoying for you depending on your use case. If you're a fashionista and it's a style thing, well, this is going to stick out the bottom of almost any jacket you're going to put on other than like a car coat or something that length. So if I put on like my work jacket right now, my work jacket ends like right here. There's just going to be this tail popping out. I'm not much of a fashionista. I just like to be warm and comfortable. The collar on this is obviously it's very tall, and you can zip it all the way up. There's a little bit of a gap here under my chin. It's not really much of a problem, but this collar is very soft and comfortable, and it goes up high and insulates the whole neck. It does stay under the ear, obviously, and stays under the jawline, but it is a very tall collar. It's much taller than most collars. And this combination right here with this 200 gram terry loop t-shirt and the 400 gram terry loop vest, man, I can throw on just a basic like Gore-Tex wind shell and I can be really warm and comfortable in temperatures that are pretty low, especially if I'm moving around. And that is what this stuff excels at, is if you are working up a sweat and you're doing a lot of stuff, this stuff is the absolute best choice because it's wool and synthetic and it breathes really, really well. So if you're wearing a shell and you need to vent, man, take the shell off and you're cool. Or crack the shell open. And I mean, this stuff vents. Thermal regulation on this stuff is fantastic. Yeah. This is not going to be the kind of thing you want to be out cutting and welding in. You don't want to be working on your car in this stuff, not unless you're covering it with some sort of a shell. So anyway, there's a good look at the vest. The vest in 2XL fits me very comfortably. I probably could have got an extra large vest and it would fit tight. And that might be what you want to do if you're planning on only using it under other garments. But I think, as you can tell, it is certainly not excessively baggy on me. And there's just a lot going for this stuff. And I think it's pretty reasonably priced. And again, it's not made in Southeast Asia. It's made in Sweden. So it's made in a first world country. It's a good company that's making a good product. And I think that, it's important to me as much as possible to try and buy stuff that's made in the United States, made in Japan, made in Germany, made in Sweden, made in England. Obviously, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and, get your Felsen vest that's made in Bangladesh. It's too bad that some of these companies are outsourcing more, but people have different thoughts and opinions on that. I just try real hard to not get stuff that's from Southeast Asia if I can, especially with the situation with Uyghurs in China. I mean, it's just awful. So, yeah, I think it's really important if you're getting cotton products, try to get cotton that's sourced from anywhere but Southeast Asia, man. I mean, I'm sure Africa's got some trouble too, but yeah, it's just sad what's going on over there. So Merry Christmas, I guess I just pulled a Bono now, and I can rub your nose in your first world privilege, because that's what I do here. Anyway, yeah, Woolpower, 2 thumbs way, way up. All their products. My wife has the socks. My wife has some other, I can't remember what else I got her. Everybody I've given Woolpower to, everybody I know that's used it, loves it. And it is expensive. It's not cheap, but it's not like stupid expensive. And they do a lot of sales too. So like look on woolpower.us, find sales and clearance items. Yeah. And totally awesome stuff. So enjoy.